Hey everybody, welcome back to another video, another collab video. Hope you guys enjoyed my recent video, which was the Little Fish review. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Um, I have some time to kill because I'm gonna be heading out to work. I think around like 2 o'clock-ish. I don't anticipate this video to be long anyway. I'm just gonna do like probably like a 30-minute video or something, just because there's some stuff that dropped today and I want to talk about it. And some stuff that has been dropping for the past few days. Um, some leaks that are potentially true, some stuff that just broke just now. So why not? Let's just get into it. And before some of you guys ask, there are some reviews that I still want to get done. I just have life, obviously, that I have to do, obviously, that I have to attend to, and I will make sure to do. I hopefully can get my review for Palmer out soon, the new Justin Timberlake film. Hopefully, I can get that review out soon because I really want to watch that. Obviously, I'll be reviewing Judas and the Black Mache. I'll definitely be reviewing that when it comes out. But yeah, just want to give an update onto the reviews if anybody's like curious, like if I'm going to review any of those movies. Of course, I will be reviewing those movies. I just have to get around to it. So, but anyway, let's get into the news, because there's a couple of things that have happened. Let's talk about the one that just broke just now, literally just broke just now. And quite an interesting story, because I could have sworn that this happened or was in the works, but I guess it actually has been in the works for some time. And that is this. They're now going to be doing a remake to The Wizard of Oz. Yep, it's finally happening. A remake to The Wizard of Oz is in the works. And it will be directed by Nicole Kassell, who was an executive producer and director of 3 episodes on HBO's Watchmen series. As you guys know, went on to garnish so many accolades, including a lot of Emmys. The report broke on Deadline, so here's a quote from Deadline. Quote, her selection follows an extensive director search by New Line, so it's going to be distributed by New Line Cinema, to find a visionary filmmaker to reimagine the wonderful Wizard of Oz. They liked what they saw in how Castle acted as a meticulous world builder and overseen every step of the Watchmen production, setting the show's striking visual tone with no detail overlooked and weaving visual cues from the panels of the comic into the series as delicate Easter eggs for fans. Castle also demonstrated the ability to adapt challenging material, breathing new life into DC's revered and notoriously difficult to adapt graphic novel. So she really she won the people over by her work on the Watchmen production. I have yet to see the Watchmen show. It's on HBO. I'll get around to seeing it when I can. It was only like 8 episodes, so I'll get around to watching it when I can. But it seems like her work on the Watchmen set had gotten her the job. Now, Nicole Kassell also put out a statement with the announcement of the Wizard of Oz remake, and she goes on to say this, quote, I am incredibly honored to join Temple Hill and New Line in bringing this beloved classic to the screen. While the 1939 musical is part of my DNA, I am exhilarated and humbled by the responsibility of reimagining such a legendary tale. The opportunity to examine the original themes, the quest for courage, love, wisdom, and home, feels more timely and urgent than ever. These are profoundly iconic shoes to fill, and I am eager to dance alongside these heroes of my childhood as we pave a newly minted yellow brick road. All right. So this literally broke today. So I've yet to process this news. Here's the thing. About Wizard of Oz. It's been a long time since I've watched Wizard of Oz. I know I watched it when I was a kid. I know that I've seen it all from beginning to end. So I know I've seen the original classic, the 3040s version with Garland. I've that one I have definitely seen. Definitely have seen. Yeah, 1939. Yeah, with Jody Garland. But I could have sworn that they didn't they do another remake after 1939? If I'm not mistaken, I believe they did a remake. Or maybe I'm thinking wrong, but I'm pretty sure that they adapted this again. If I'm not mistaken, I'm just checking right now just to see. Wizard of Oz remake. I just want to see if they did a remake before. They have not. Okay, They did do a sequel, however, with trying to remember his name. Let me look it up right now. I know they did a sequel, or at least some form of a sequel. Return to Oz, yes. It was on Disney. It was directed by, where's your name? Walter Murch. Yes, yeah, Walter Murch. I know this because I'm actually hearing a lot about him in my editing class, so that's how I was able to know him. He's a very iconic film editor. For those who don't know, Walter Murch edited a lot of Francis Ford Coppola's movies. Apparently, one of his directorial efforts was a sequel of some sorts to the Wizard of Oz. So, but it looks like they have not done an official sequel. They did one in 2013. I believe this was Tim Burton, if I'm not mistaken, or Sam Raimi. Sorry, Sam Raimi with Oz the Great and the Powerful. Some form of a prequel. Yeah, it's like a prequel to the 1939 film. So no official remake of the classic 1939 Wizard of Oz story until now. So they are doing an official remake, and like I said, I feel like this probably should have happened a long time ago. It feels like something that probably should have existed a long time ago, but now that they're doing it, we'll see what happens. I mean, it could be something that's worth merit. It could be something that absolutely shits the bed. I mean, who knows? I have never seen Watchmen, so I can't, say how the work ethic from her particularly was, and how her directing style would be. But it all sounds promising. It looks like they're probably going to lean more into the book, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. Wouldn't be surprised if that's the title of the remake. But yeah, I actually thought that there was a remake for some reason. I was thinking about the sequels and the prequels. I thought there was a remake somewhere in between, but I guess they never did an official remake. So now they are doing an official remake of that classic story. So yeah, I mean, it is a big task. It's a huge task. Wizard of Oz is iconic. It's one of the most iconic stories of all time. So of course, it's going to be a huge undertaking for this director. Who they're going to cast for that film is what I'm really interested on. It's going to be a bunch of A-list. Don't be a bunch of A-list. I'd rather have some unknowns for that film. But really curious to see also what her vision will be for this film, because they said it's going to be a reimagination. That's what they also stated in the press release, was that it was going to be a reimagination. So I'm curious to know what the reimagination would be. Is it going to be much more of a darker tone, or is it going to be like a lot more in line with I don't know. I'm just curious to see what they mean by a reimagination of Wizard of Oz. Will the tone be different? Will the visual style be different? Like, what's making this a reimagination rather than just a straight remake? So, we'll see. We'll see how they handle this. And the story literally just broke, so there'll probably be more stuff to hear later today, maybe about a writer or something. Who knows? But yeah. So, Wizard of Oz remake is in the works, and that's exciting. That's exciting to know that they're doing that. Hopefully they get it right. So that's all I can really say about that. All right, now let's move on to the stuff that actually that's happened these past few days. This one actually broke yesterday, and that is we have our first look at Jared Leto's Joker in the Snyder Cut. Now, we know that Jared Leto had appeared as the Joker in Suicide Squad. And Jared Leto's Joker was not originally supposed to be in the Snyder Cut, but because Snyder had a lot of time to think about that version that he had created, he decided to add a couple of new things to that cut. Then they went to do additional photography and stuff, and Jared Leto was involved in that. And now we see from some pictures of that look of that Joker, and I'm going to pull it up right here just so I can give some comments on it. Now, I knew that he was not going to have the tattoos, because that's what all the reports were suggesting, that he was not going to have any tattoos. And I have to say, I'm a little mixed on his look. I'm a little mixed. I do like the impression that I get at first glance, which is that I definitely get a haunted vibe I love this purge. Someone said it best. Someone said it kind of looks like a purge. The purge, like in those like some of those like riot looking things. It kind of looks like that. But I like the longer hair. I like the face is just strange to me. The face just seems strange to me. It looks definitely a lot like Heath Ledger's. Definitely inspired by Heath Ledger's Joker. I like some of the scars, some of the tear in his makeup. I like that. Um, I'm more curious to know how he plays into the story. Obviously, it plays up during the nightmare sequence, obviously. But what I'm most excited about with this scene was hearing Zack Snyder's comments about the scene's significance. It's not a scene involving just Batman and Joker. It's going to be a character-driven scene, and I like that. And if this is the setting, by the way, just these walls, that would be sick. I'm just saying, I would love for that to be the setting. Just this blank wall. I think that'd be an excellent setting. If that is how they're going to play up that scene, it's just this big wall setting. I would love that, personally. Now, Jared Leto's Joker obviously is a very mixed bag by a lot of fans and critics. A lot of people didn't like that Joker. A lot of people really like that Joker. I personally didn't hate it. I think that he was given a bad. I don't think he was given a fair shot. If you hear all the stuff involving his Joker behind the scenes, he wasn't given a fair shake. So I'm glad that he's getting a chance to revisit this character again, and he looks interesting. I mean, the idea of what this Joker looks like is interesting. And I don't know how to feel about that makeup. But what I'm more curious about is his voice. I'm curious if it's going to be a different voice, or if he's going to keep up the voice that he had in Suicide Squad. How is he going to change it up? If we're going to hear a new laugh, like that's some of the stuff that I'm curious to see. But in terms of overall looks, interesting look. I mean, it definitely has a Purge vibe. It definitely has a more of a sinister vibe than anything else. But I'm very curious to hear that voice, though. That's definitely what I'm most looking forward to, is hearing his voice, and also that interaction. I'm curious to see how that plays out. So hopefully it's not super short. Hopefully it's like at least like 5 minutes or something. So, or like 5 minutes. So, but interesting look nonetheless. So, all right, moving on from DC, let's transition into Marvel. We finally have some news involving Blade. Mahershala Ali's Blade, of course, is coming into the MCU. We don't have a date yet for that film, but they do now have a screenwriter. It's funny how we talked about Wizard of Oz having the Watchmen director. Now we have a writer from the Watchmen also writing the script for Blade. Stacey Ossie is set to write and pen the script. And a small little thing that I found was that in terms of the process of who they were gonna pick for a writer, according to the Hollywood Reporter, Marvel was only considering African American writers for Blade, which is nice, which is good. I'm glad that they're just not narrowing their search. You know, they're not just, well, you know what I mean. It's how do I say it? For something like a Black Panther, I would want an African American writer, an African American director. I would need someone to do that because that's involving an African culture. Blade, from my knowledge, again, I don't know. You guys tell me. Is it necessary for Blade to be black? That's just me. I'm just wanting to ask. Like, is Blade needing to be black? Is it part of his character, or is it that he just happens to be black? You know what I mean? Like, kind of like the whole Fantastic Four situation. The Human Torch doesn't need to be black, nor does it need to be white. It's not a part of the character. So I just want to ask, because I don't know anything about Blade. All I know is that he's a vampire slayer, and it's like a gothic type of comic. I don't know. I don't know. Has he always been this way because it's a part of his character, like in the vein of like a Luke Cage or like a Black Panther, or is it just the fact that he just happened to be black? I just want to know, is it a part of the character? Like, is it a necessity? Because that just makes me wonder, because since they're only considering African American writers for Blade, I'm just curious, as someone who doesn't know anything about Blade, is Blade as a character needed to be black? Like, what's the significance of Blade being black? That's just me. If someone could just let me know, just so I can understand a little bit more, that's all. Not that I'm like saying like, oh, they shouldn't have any black writers. Of course they should. If they want to, they should. I'm just wanting to know like what the significance is for Blade to be black, because I'm just thinking about the comics and I don't remember hearing the significance, but maybe someone who knows a lot more about Blade could let me in, because I just personally don't know. So, but I am still excited for this movie, though. I am still excited to see this movie. I think it's one of my most anticipated films in the MCU, if not my most anticipated. I really love Mahershala Ali. I loved him in Moonlight. I think that he was amazing in Moonlight. I really loved him in Green Book. So I'm really excited to see what he brings to Blade. And I think he's a great choice for Blade. And I'm really excited to see what he also delivers in terms of just presence to the MCU, because I hope that this movie is rated R also. I do not want this to be PG-13. Listen, Deadpool 3 is now rated R. So now we can open the floodgates and we can open things to other projects as well to be rated R. So hopefully Blade is that next project to be rated R, as well as Moon Knight. Moon Knight should be rated R too. But yes, I'm excited to see Blade. It's one of my most anticipated pieces from the MCU. Cannot wait to see that. But again, someone let me know the significance of Blade being an African American. Is it a part of the character, or is it just that he was just happened to be that? You know, just a curiosity. That's all. If someone can like let me in on that, so I can understand a little bit more about Blade. So as a character. So, but moving on from Blade, let's talk about a potential rumor or potential leak that's been going around the internet involving the next Transformers film. Now, we haven't talked a lot about Transformers on the movie stuff, just because there just hasn't been a lot of news in terms of the movies, in terms of Transformers. We had Bumblebee back in 2018, which I enjoyed. I enjoyed that Bumblebee film. I thought it was a good film. Definitely the best Transformers film that we've had in a while. So now we have apparently some allegedly leaked information about the next Transformers film being helmed by Stephen Cable Jr., which is true. That is happening. The same director who did Creed 2. So we have some story stuff that was leaked. So take this all with a grain of salt, because I don't know how legitimate the source is. This is the same source who's also saying that Keanu Reeves was in talks to play Kraven the Hunter. So, I don't know. So just take this with a grain of salt. I'm not covering that Keanu Reeves one just because, to put it short, I don't think that's a good casting. So I don't have much to put on that. I don't think that's a good casting. Moving on from that, pick Joe Manganiello. That's why I won for Kraven the Hunter. So I think he was in the running for Kraven the Hunter, Joe Manganiello, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, all right. So the next Transformers film, the details that are up are this. So the current working title for the next film is Transformers: Beast Alliance, and the story is described as a heist. Set within the world of Bumblebee, so they are going to continue on with this continuity, and it takes place in the 90s. Haley Steinfeld would not return. They're looking for a new lead, and it looks to be Beast Wars influenced. Obviously, from that title, Beast Alliance, you can take that. So, how do I feel about this? I think this is a clever idea. I think that there's some interesting idea to be played here. A heist film starring Transformers. I think that's an interesting idea. In the vein of like an Oceans type vibe, that'd be cool. Like Steven Soderbergh influenced. That'd be awesome. Now, the part that throws me off is Beast Wars influence. So, are the Transformers animals? Like roaming around like as animals? Like, that's the only thing that throws me off. Like, if this was like a heist, like Cars, sure, maybe. But an animal, like a cheetah running around or a gorilla running around, I don't know. But it sounds like an interesting idea, especially within the world of Bumblebee. So I'm curious to maybe see like a cameo from Bumblebee or anything else. Maybe that's what they're doing to connect the tissues. But I think at the end of the Bumblebee, we saw like some new craters, like some new, Transformers landing on Earth. So maybe that could be the way they lead into the Beast Alliance movie. I think that the title sounds a little meh in my opinion. Beast Alliance. It sounds more like a video game title, so probably change that title a little bit. Um, but I don't think this is a bad idea if this is indeed what the project is. So I'm for it. I'm for it. It seems like an interesting idea. I just question the idea of using the animals if they are transforming into animals and it's like a heist type of story. It seems kind of weird for a cheetah running around, performing a heist, and a gorilla and a rat and a rhino and I think a velociraptor. So, um, but yeah, I think it's an interesting idea. I'm just excited to see that they are still pursuing this franchise after Bumblebee, even though it wasn't a box office hit. Critically, it was the best Transformers film that they've had since the 80s. So I am happy to see that they are moving forward with another one. Curious to see if it is this information that we have, or if it is something completely different. But if this is the story for Stephen Cable Jr.'s film, I don't see the problem with it. I think it's an interesting idea. How they execute it, obviously, we'll see. But I wouldn't have imagined that Haley Steinfeld was going to return. That seems pretty legitimate to me. I don't think that Haley Steinfeld would return for another solo project. I think that she might return for a Bumblebee too, but I don't think that she would be returning for any other side stories, whatever. But I am happy to. I definitely will say that they are leaning towards Beast Wars. I heard that for a while, that they are going to lean into a Beast Wars storyline. I just don't know if it would be a heist thing. That just seems a little weird to me. How they might, how they will, how they would, how those two elements would mesh together. I'm not sure, but again, the idea sounds interesting, and I'm for it if that is actually the idea. Just wondering how they're going to incorporate the Beast Wars stuff in a heist setting. So, but yeah, so that's pretty much the details on that. Don't have much to say left on that, except I'm interested, and hopefully we'll hear more about it very, very soon. Because that same leak also said that they would be filming this year, so hopefully we might get some more details on it very soon. So, okay, and the last thing we're going to talk about is, of course, the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl happened this weekend, and of course, with the Super Bowl comes with trailers. By the way, the Chiefs lost big time. They lost big time. No touchdown. That was just wow. They just got crushed. But with the Super Bowl also comes a lot of TV spots and trailers. There were a couple ones, of course, like the Falcon and Winter Soldier, which actually had some good energy to it. F9, which looked okay. But the one I want to talk about today is, of course, Old. The next M. Night Shyamalan film. It's a 30-second TV spot during the Super Bowl. And, okay, here's the thing about Old. I think conceptually, there's an interesting idea at play. This idea of, of time playing on an island. I think it's an interesting idea. I like the cast assembled. Vicky Krieps, who, by the way, she was in Phantom Thread, and she acted alongside Daniel Day-Lewis. I know that people rave about Daniel Day-Lewis, and I do as well when it came to Phantom Thread. He's incredible in that movie. Vicky Krieps is also strong in that movie as well. I don't know why people didn't talk about her when that movie came out. She is great in that movie. So I'm glad that she's finally getting a starring role in another big project like this. So, yeah, go watch her again in Phantom Thread. She was great in that. Then we have Alex Wolff, who has done a lot recently with Hereditary and then a bunch of other indies, and Thomasine McKenzie, who just recently did Jojo Rabbit. So interesting cast assembled, and I just think conceptually it's an interesting idea. However, the thing that has me concerned is that this was a project that was done from the ground up, not like the Batman where they were in production and they had to go into COVID restrictions, not like Mission Impossible, which had the same thing happen to them. This is a film that was done from the ground up during the pandemic. So I hope that that the restrictions for this don't affect the product as a whole, and they were able to find their way around it because this is now this would be like the fourth, I don't know, depending on what comes out this year. Um, before Old comes out, this would be the fourth mainstream COVID-based film, either filmed during COVID or what is it? About COVID-19. We had Songbird, which was about COVID-19. We had Lockdown, which was about COVID-19. We had Malcolm and Mary, which was filmed entirely during COVID-19, and now we have another one, Old, which was filmed entirely during COVID-19. Um, so hopefully this doesn't affect the product, because right now the three mainstream pieces that I've seen so far have not impressed me. Songbird was one of the worst movies I saw last year. Lockdown is right now the worst movie that I've seen this year, and Malcolm and Mary was just a big disappointment to me. So hopefully Old does not fall into those trappings. Hopefully they're able to find a way to make it work. But conceptually, it looks interesting. The trailer had me intrigued in some capacity. And then my Shyamalan has had a bit of a resurgence lately. He's been able to find his footing again after just making shit after shit after shit, Lady in the Water, The Happening, Last Airbender. But he's been able to find his footing again. He found it with The Visit, and then he brought it back with Split. Glass was not a bad film. I have to say, Glass, even though the third act does kind of shatter, if you get my drift there, kind of just shatter into pieces. The first two acts are actually fairly consistent. It's just that third act kind of just falls apart a little bit, and the twist is kind of meh. So I am a little concerned what the twist is going to be for Old. Conceptually speaking, I just don't know. I hope it's nothing like, oh, they were. It was, I don't know, like something like The Village. I think it was The Village. Yeah, like that was. I think that twist was so weird. So I just hope it's nothing completely out of left field. Something that actually makes some sense within the context. Something that could actually happen, or something that seems like the idea. I'm thinking about the title Old. Maybe it's like a psychological thing. Maybe like Alzheimer's. Maybe, I don't know. Something. I'm just thinking. Or maybe I'm just trying to think about like Vicky Krep's character, because she seems like she's the main focus. Maybe she thinks she's younger, but she's really older. And she's going through, maybe she's dealing with stuff eternally. Like I said, maybe Alzheimer's, maybe, I don't know. But it's also slated to come out July 23rd. So it is going to come out this year during the summer. If that date will move, it's a possibility. But it looks like that they are firm to keep it on that July 23rd date. As of right now, the vaccines seem to be hopefully showing effects by the summer, so we'll probably see the effects by then. Anticipating the effects to hit by then, but again, in a world where anything's possible, don't be surprised if this movie gets pushed. So, depending on how everything shapes up in the next few months. So, but that is pretty much it for today, guys. To put it short, with the old trailer, conceptually looks interesting, but I'm a little concerned based on just the fact that it was filmed during COVID-19, and just some of the story threads I'm hoping don't. I hope they feel satisfying and they feel like they're earned and not just completely out of left field, out of the realm of possibility. So. But yeah, so that is it for today, guys. We talked about the breaking news of Wizard of Oz remake. We talked about a lot of stuff going on in the comic book world, some Transformer stuff, and then that Super Bowl TV spot with Old. Let me know your guys' thoughts on all these topics, and I will hopefully have my review for Palmer out on the 11th. Hopefully I'll have it out by then. This video is going to come out on the 10th, so hopefully you guys... I think my last video was Little Fish. So hopefully you guys are enjoying my review for Little Fish. Please watch that movie. It is an amazing movie. Like I said, hopefully I'll have my review for Palmer out by the 11th, and I will also have my review for Judas and the Black Mache out on Saturday, that weekend. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know your guys' thoughts on all these topics, and remember, be safe be protected, social distance, wash your hands, do all that stuff. We'll get through this together, and I'll just catch you guys in the next video. Bye.